I've been thinking a lot lately about elderly people and how many of them are lonely in their life. I've been thinking about this a lot, trying to come up with a project that may help people who are older, who are lonely, who are isolated, that may help them to be able to make communication with other people. And it's a project that I've been thinking about a lot, and I just want to go into it a little bit, just touch on it a bit here. Now, I understand that there are a lot of people who are lonely. I did a video recently on saying that solitude does not mean loneliness. Now, solitude is something that you choose to be alone and have time to yourself. Loneliness is something that can be inflicted upon you, but not at your request. It's just something that happens. Now, there's a lot of reasons why people get lonely. They, from perhaps mobility reasons, they're not able to get out and about and to mix with people. Maybe as they've got older, some of their old friends have passed away and they've not been able to get out and make new friends that they can get out and spend time with and things like that. A lot of them too live in isolated areas, and they choose that isolation because they like the solitude, but every now and again loneliness sneaks in because they don't have easy access to neighbours and people living in close vicinity to them. And whether people have got problems with a disability that they're not able to get out and about because they're in an area where they don't really know anybody and they're not the sort of character that likes to go out and sort of puts themselves out there to be known. There's lots and lots of reasons why people suffer from loneliness. And it can really do a lot of damage to somebody, especially when you're older and you don't have those lines of communication with other people. I've not experienced it myself, but I've heard and read stories and seen stories of people, older people that are just so isolated and they don't have friends. And I remember watching a TV program once. It was a documentary. It was a few years ago now on loneliness. And it showed this elderly woman who was in her home, and she used to get these flyers put into her letterbox, advertising supermarkets and all that sort of stuff. And the highlight of her day was to get a pair of scissors and a bag, and she would just cut all these flyers up into little pieces so that she could put them into the rubbish. And that was her activity for the day. And she had no friends coming around. I can't remember how the documentary was actually filmed of her, but it just broke my heart. And I thought how much it would be so good if she just had somebody to talk to, even for just half an hour to an hour a day or every couple of days. And so this has really got me thinking a lot about how it's possible to overcome or to help these people overcome loneliness. Now, as I said, I know people live in really isolated places. I know there are parts of the world where there's very little, there's miles. I mean, Australia, for one of them, is people that work in the outback and live in the outback. They can be miles and miles from their nearest neighbour, so they don't have really access to other people. But they choose that lifestyle, but it brings in the added distress, I guess, of loneliness. Elderly people, I know there are people all over the world, men and women, who, as I say, they've lost their friends, they've moved away, they don't have friends, their family themselves are living in another place, or they're too busy, they've got their own lifestyle to live, and they don't get time to visit their elderly relative. So that relative is basically isolated, and loneliness then sets in because they don't have that human communication or that human interaction with people. Other people who, as I say, they might be wheelchair bound, or for some reason that they're not able to get out of the house, they maybe don't drive and they're not able to get on public transport, can't afford to be getting taxis and Ubers and all of this sort of stuff everywhere. Maybe they get their groceries delivered once a week or once a fortnight, and that may be the only time they see anybody that's another human, is when someone comes and drops their groceries off for them. And it just really bothers me to think that there are people in the world who would crave a little bit of interaction, whether it be, they would probably love it if it was personal, person to person, in person, I mean. But there's also, in this age of technology, there's ways that you can be in touch with people, communicate with people through technology. And I wonder how many people who are in these situations of being so lonely, they might watch a bit of TV, they might watch a bit of YouTube or whatever, but it's just a one-sided deal. They are watching somebody else and they're doing the listening, basically. And probably what's needed is a two-way path of communication. And that's what I've been thinking about, how that could be arranged for people to have two-way conversations. And as I say, I haven't sort of come up with any great ideas yet, but it's something that I'm putting thoughts into. And I'm just interested to know how many people are out there, and that you know of people that have got elderly neighbours or relatives who are really lonely. They don't have people that they can talk to and just throw ideas around with. And if you do know of anybody, please put a note in the a comment in, because I'm curious to know if it's just my observations or whether other people are well aware of others who are in this situation. And if I find that there is a need for something, then it gives me a bit more of an idea on what I can work on to try and help bridge this communication gap, to try and alleviate these people's loneliness. Now, as I said, if you know of anybody, I don't want names or anything, if you just give me an example of somebody that perhaps you know, just so that I can get an idea if it really is something that needs to be addressed. And if it is, if I find out that it is, then I'm going to be really thinking a lot more about some sort of project that I can put in place to help these people out. I love communicating with people. I can talk to strangers at the drop of a hat, no problem for me. And I would really like to be able to help some way, to be some sort of help for these people, just even if it's just half an hour a week or something like that. So if you do know of anybody, or you can give me just a bit of a story on somebody that you know, just drop a comment in there and let me know, and that'll give me an idea then whether I can sort of give some more thought to this project that I've got in my mind. It would take quite a bit of setting up for what I want to do, but I first need to know if there's a need for it, and if there really is a genuine need, then I'm definitely going to start working towards some sort of a project that might help out a few people in a small way. So anyway, that's my little thought for the day. If you've got anything out of this, please just drop me a like, all the other stuff that you do at the end. And If this is, my name is June. If this is the first time you've been on my channel, thank you for dropping by. If you've come back from a previous visit, thank you for returning. And I will await and see if anybody has any comments. And if you do, I would love to hear them. I think I've also got an email address, I think in my bio, in YouTube bio. So if anyone even wanted to just drop an email to me, I'd be happy to read those and have a look. And in the meantime, I will say take care, everybody, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay then, bye-bye.